Welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. So sometimes I'm really lucky to do interviews about things that I love. And you guys know my favorite things to have in the studio is people who does food because they bring me food. And anybody who brings me food is my hero. And I love to talk about real estate. And with me is Gloria Carter. Did I get it right?
Yes.
She's got an easy name. I was lucky this time. I've had names that are really, really difficult, just so you know. All right, so you're in real estate. Why'd you get into real estate?
um, I love homes. I love opening doors for people, and I love the feeling of people trusting me with the biggest, if not the, like the biggest investment in their lives. So just having that feeling of them finding the perfect home that they want to settle in and have those memories is what made me get into real estate.
Okay, so I look at it as the second biggest investments that you'll ever do, and you learn that when you have kids.
Yes.
They're the first biggest investment, and your home is the second biggest investment. So that's how I look at it. And having a child, and I only had one, so it was not as bad as someone who has two, especially if you have two girls. So two girls, and they're going to college, and it's brutal. And again, you get married, and you have to support their it's brutal. All right, so you get into real estate. Like I've been in real estate a long time, and I chose to push over to commercial because I had a totally different view of real estate and helping people that most residential realtors have. Why, for you, why did you decide to go into residential? Just because that's what everybody does when they start?
I've always been around new construction, pretty much my entire adult life, so I kind of know the process and what to look for, not to look for. So I felt like once I got into real estate, I could bring that knowledge and expertise into my clients and help them when they're choosing their home and looking at their homes. So I like to new construction.
All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who makes the decision about buying a home? The husband or the wife?
Usually the wife. Usually the wife does.
Okay, and so we know that curb appeal is the first thing they're going to see. So that's important for the husband and wife. But is it the fact that the kitchen is where the wife is going to make her decision from on a whole? If the kitchen doesn't fit in her mindset, you're never going to sell that house?
Sometimes it's the kitchen, sometimes it's the yard.
Really?
Yeah.
And for the guy, they
And the
always say
guy is
it's
just,
the
what do you
garage.
want? What do you want?
The garage.
As
It's the
long as I have my own space, I'm good.
right. Well, you know, it's funny because for me, it's the kitchen because I love to cook. So if the kitchen is not a good kitchen, I don't want to, I wouldn't buy the house, no matter how much of a bargain it is. Do you find that people are asking for homes with pools?
um, if they have kids, yes. If not, they're just about laid back, being laid back in their yards and just hanging out. So for entertainment.
Yeah, because pools really, they're a liability. They're a benefit and a liability. You got to keep them up. Sometimes they're a pain to keep up. And if you're going to go all the way, meaning a pool that has the hot tub with it and a heater, it's quite pricey to keep running,
It is.
you know. And I know, because I've had a couple houses with pools, and I know, like, I wanted my pool screened in, okay, because I hate bugs. But the truth of the matter is, when I had one that wasn't screened in, it was really nice because the light came through. It wasn't no disturbing there, and I don't have the same issues as other people. I don't. It does bother me if I see lizards coming on my yard or whatever. Okay, where it bothers some other people. What do people look for? So they come to you. They want to buy a house. What's the majority of the things that you hear? 3 bedroom, 2 bedroom.
3 bedroom, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, open concept, new build, no HOA,
No HOA.
no
Those are
HOA.
smart people.
Yeah.
Okay,
A big
just
yard, so it's like mostly what I get asked for, but a lot of new builds. So
well, when you talk about a large yard and you're dealing with someone who's older, that person has to mow that and keep it up. And that's a job and a half.
it is.
And that's the only benefit of an HOA, even though you do a lousy job of cutting the grass anyway.
Right.
But having someone else to cut your grass or hiring somebody because it's it's a once a week thing. You have to have someone come in Florida usually once a week to do your lawn, to cut your at least cut your grass. Unless you need a rider and mow it, and if you have a small yard, it doesn't pay. I see houses listed with one bath. That's like, in my opinion, that's got to be such a negative, you know.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, growing up, we had a house with one bath. Most people had a house with one bath.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's how I grew up.
right? Okay, most of us grew up that way.
Yeah.
Um, well, I'm a little older than you, so I grew up with a house with one bath and no air conditioning. I grew up north, so it was only the summer, and then we got window air conditioners because that's what they had. Do you find so for me and listening to people talk, they're going to buy a home. It's changed in the fact that now when you buy a home, let's just pick to round it off a $200,000 home. If that home has a roof that's 12, 13, 14 years old, you better take that off the purchase price because you won't be able to insure it,
Yeah.
right? Is that like part of the problem with
Yeah,
homes now?
it depends on the roof. Like sometimes they will ask questions about the roof, and then like depending on the age of it, um, it might get discounted, or it's a buyer seller agreement type of thing.
Right.
So it all depends. Like a lot of people just look for new roofs, like the newer ones, just because they don't want to deal with that hassle, or
Well, insurance.
yeah, they don't want to deal with it.
You can't get insurance if your roof is 15 years plus. You're not going to get, even if it's in good shape, you probably won't get insurance.
Yeah.
Do people talk to you and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a home with a metal roof"? I mean, because that's fairly new to the industry.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten any metal roofs.
Okay, so they don't really care about that. That's not an issue. We know, in my opinion, if someone's a potential buyer and they call you up and say, "Hey, I want to come see the house. My wife works till 6, but I'll come earlier." If I was a realtor, I wouldn't even take him. Okay, because I don't think he has I don't think as a guy he has the decision making power.
Right.
Okay, I just don't think. Now, when I started and I did residential, they would meet us at the office and we would drive them. That doesn't happen anymore, does it?
No, I usually have them meet me. I'll map out the addresses from closest to furthest, and then we'll just go to each address. I'll give them a pamphlet of where we're going and the times, and that's how we do it.
Okay, so when I started, I remember I got a lead. A doctor and his wife wanted a house. They passed the house, and which we had listed, the company had listed, and I was going to take them to that house. So I knew very little, and I give them. Oh no, I took them. I took them in my car to this house, and I knock on the door, and the lady says, "This house not for sale." I says, "Well, what do you mean? It's already listed." Well, the address, let's call it 101 3rd Street, was in Tinton Falls, New Jersey. But the 101 3rd Street that they wanted to see was in the next town. So the two towns were different, so I took the people to the wrong address. So I felt like an idiot. That was my first thing that happened in real estate for me. The next was, it was a weekend. I got an opportunity to list a builder's 3 houses. I was so excited. Drive up there, park, go through, get the 3 listings, go back to my car, and I lock the keys in the car. And it's summer, and it's hot. Now, I didn't drive them, so they were already there. I didn't know what to do, and I took a rock and I broke my window
Oh
because
my goodness.
I got so excited that I got 3 new listings. Okay, look how much money I could make. Getting in the industry is an interesting scenario because everybody thinks it's the easiest thing in the world, but it's really not, and it takes work. I know, because I follow you on Facebook, that you do some open houses. Do you like doing open houses?
I love doing open houses.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you like doing open houses because it takes you away from home? And put you somewhere else's home?
No, I actually I like being in different homes. I like getting feeling of different homes, and I like showing them online as well. And hoping the right buyer falls in and falls in love. I like.
Okay, so I remember when I started in real estate, go back into my career, Tuesdays was open house day. And we would get, because we didn't have computers, and we'd get the MLS sheets, and we would book our tour by what they were serving. So if people were serving snacks, we wouldn't go to that one. We would go where they had the best food. So you do open houses. How do you prepare? What do you prepare when you do an open house?
So I usually start the night before and I print out my MLS, I print out open house flyers, I make little pamphlets,
Right?
and then I have that. I make boards to put around the home so people can see, and then I have QR codes on them for
Oh,
home analysis. Um, I usually have snacks.
meaning.
Meaning depending on what I'm in the mood to eat that day is what I get. So yesterday I did host an open house and I had mini muffins and cinnamon rolls and then I had
Okay.
water. So I've had open houses where I've had alcohol, not alcohol, but champagne, but
Right.
those were $1 million listings. So, um, but I try to keep it simple and then I have my open house signs and I market online.
Do you go to other people's open houses
I do.
just to see what they have, or because you like being in other people's houses?
Both. I want to see how they run their open houses, what I can improve on, and what they're doing that I'm not doing, or what I'm not doing that they're doing to get it sold.
Okay, so somebody calls you and says, "Hey, I have a house. I want to sell it, and I want to sell it because everybody has in their mind what their house is worth, and I want to sell it for $500,000." But you know that area only carries $300,000 homes. I know a lot of realtors take the listing, and I see both sides. Take the listing and then talk them down at a later date, or don't take the listing because it's just costing you time and money. What's your opinion on people who take listings that are overpriced?
My opinion is transparency from the get go. Do an analysis and show the seller what it is worth at that time and what other homes have sold for. And I'm just the type of person that's just an open book. I'm not gonna put your house for sale just because you think it's $500,000 when in realistically it's not. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, it's time. It's like a waste of time for myself, the seller, and everybody involved. And it's a lot of money that goes into listing a house and marketing.
Do you think that people who take those listings are doing damage to the industry?
Um, I do because they make themselves look like they're money hungry and that they'll just grab anything that's out there just to put their name on it.
You know, what's interesting is that for me, back when I started, first of all, the interest rates were 18.5%. Okay, and you're complaining about six and change, but it was 18.5%. But over and above that, for me, it was like they came in, they made X amount of dollars, and we figured out what they can afford. So let's just say they can afford 300,000. I would never, like they say, take them to one more expensive, one where they're at, and one lower. I would never want to take somebody if they can afford 300,000. I would never want them to buy a $300,000 house or more, because if God forbid something happens and life turns on a dime, they're stuck. So I would like to see them buy $290,000 house, something where they have a little playroom. God forbid something happens, because you know what, things in life happen, and it can't change. How do people find you? You have a phone number,
Yes.
which is
My phone number is 772-595-4480.
okay. And are you like up to showing property at any time?
Different. I mean, yes, I'm open as long as the other side is open. So about 6, 7 o'clock p.m. I'm up. I'm up at 5, but that's for my kids.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Does it
I'm
make it
pretty much
hard because
open.
you have kids?
No, not really.
Because
My kids are older now, so.
I mean, well, and the reason I say this is because a lot of people want to go on the weekends, and the weekends are great because you get the husband and the wife usually. Otherwise, you'll have to wait till 6, 7 o'clock when one of them gets off of work, and I don't know that at this juncture I would be happy taking someone to see a house in the dark.
Right.
Okay, that just doesn't cut
No.
it for me. And I don't sell residential, so it's not a big deal. But for you, as a woman, it's a little nerve wracking to meet someone at a house, be alone with someone in a vacant house. Especially, we don't judge areas, so it's you could be in a good area, bad area. You're going to take them and show them the house. So, do you like let everybody know where you're going?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody has my location at all times. I have a
Okay.
circle of people that have my location every
Okay.
time I do an open house or go touring.
And they can find you on Facebook, right?
On Facebook, I'm always my location's always on Facebook, so
Okay.
everybody knows where I am.
Okay, so how do people find you on Facebook?
Um,
Under what?
Gloria Carter, just my name, Gloria Carter.
Guys, and I've said it a million times, it doesn't cost you any more money to use a realtor, okay? And it will save you money, but not only will it save you money, it will save you a ton of frustration. Same thing in the travel agent business. People say, "Well, I can go online." And for real estate, I'll go to Zillow. I'll go. You know what? They're never up to date. Okay, and you're gonna just waste your time and spin your wheels, and you don't have anybody on your side. Gloria, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Wayne.
Everybody, check them out. Use a professional, and we'll be right back.